The night was hot, and the alien marketplace was alive with noise. Strange lights flashed above stalls, and creatures from many worlds shouted prices, argued, and laughed in voices that did not sound human. The air smelled of smoke, metal, and spices from unknown planets. In the center of the market stood a raised platform. On it was a cage made of glowing bars. Inside the cage sat a girl. She was small, thin, and her eyes shone with a strange light, half blue and half silver. Her clothes were torn, her hair was messy, and fear was written on her face. She was not fully human, yet she was not fully alien either. She was something in between. Crowds gathered around the platform. Traders and buyers pushed closer, their eyes hungry, not with kindness but with greed. Some licked their lips. Others whispered in low voices. One dealer stepped forward. He was a tall creature with skin like stone and eyes like burning coal. His voice shook the air as he shouted, "Tonight, a prize you will never forget.
Half human, half mystery. Strong blood.
Rare blood. And I give you my word, guaranteed. If she does not satisfy you tonight, your money will be returned." The crowd roared with laughter and claps. The girl in the cage pressed herself against the corner, her body shaking. She did not understand every word, but she understood enough. She was being sold like an object. From the back of the crowd, a man watched silently. He wore a dark cloak that hid his face, but his eyes, deep human eyes, watched carefully. Unlike the others, he did not laugh. Unlike the others, he did not look at the girl with hunger. He looked at her with something else, pity. The auction began. Voices rose. 50 credits. 100 credits. 150. The numbers grew louder, faster. The dealer smiled with sharp teeth. His business was good tonight. The girl's breathing grew heavy. Her hands shook on the cage bars. In her chest, her heart pounded like a drum. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. She wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. And still the man in the cloak said nothing. He only waited. The dealer raised his hand, calling for silence. "Enough games," he shouted. "This is no ordinary creature. This is living power. Her blood can heal, her body can endure, her spirit can—" He stopped, grinning wide. "Who dares pay 2,000 credits?" The crowd gasped. 2,000 credits was more than a lifetime's fortune for many. No one spoke. No one moved. For a moment, the market was quiet. Then, slowly, a single hand rose from the shadows. The man in the cloak. His voice was calm, steady. 2,000 credits, every head turned. The crowd whispered. Some laughed, others cursed. Who was this stranger to pay so much? Was he mad or was he a fool? The dealer's eyes gleamed. "Sold," he shouted. "To the man in the cloak." The cage opened with a sharp hiss. The girl tried to shrink away, but rough hands pulled her out and pushed her toward the buyer. She stumbled, nearly falling, until the cloaked man caught her. His grip was gentle, unlike the others. She looked up at him, her silver blue eyes wide with fear. For the first time, she saw his face clearly under the hood. He was human. A real human. His jaw was strong, his eyes tired but kind. "Do not fear," he whispered softly, only for her to hear. But the girl did not believe him. How could she? Every man before had promised safety, but safety had never come. The dealer laughed behind them. "Enjoy, stranger. And remember my words, guaranteed." The crowd cheered and laughed again, the sound echoing in the night. The man took the girl's hand and led her through the noisy market. People stared as they passed. Some spat, some laughed, some looked with envy, but no one dared to stop them. The deal was made. The law of the market was final. The girl's mind raced. She thought of running, of fighting, of breaking free. But something about this man was different. His hand was warm, not cold. His steps were steady, not cruel. They walked until the noise of the market faded behind them. The lights grew dim, the streets empty. Finally, in the shadows of an old building, the man stopped. He looked down at the girl. "You are safe now," he said again. His voice carried weight, like he truly meant it. But the girl shook her head, her voice weak, almost broken. "No one is safe, not me. Not with them watching." The man's eyes narrowed. He looked around carefully, scanning the shadows. For a moment, the air felt heavy. Danger was close. Then he bent lower, his voice almost a whisper. "I did not buy you for the reason they think. I bought you because you must live." The girl froze. Her breath caught in her chest. She did not understand. She did not know if she could trust him. But in his eyes, for the first time in her life, she saw no hunger, only truth. And truth was rare in this cruel galaxy. The girl walked beside the cloaked man in silence. Her thin legs trembled, but she forced herself to keep moving. The marketplace sounds had faded, but their echoes still rang in her ears. Laughter. Shouts. The cruel promise of the dealer. Her wrist still burned where the cage had pressed against her skin. She glanced at the man who now led her. He was quiet, almost too quiet. His grip was firm but not cruel. That confused her more than anything. No buyer had ever been gentle before. "Where are you taking me?" she whispered, her voice weak. The man did not answer right away. His eyes moved quickly, scanning every shadow, every rooftop. He seemed more like a soldier than a traitor. Finally, he spoke. "Somewhere safe," the girl laughed bitterly. "There is no safe place." "Not for me." The man's jaw tightened, but he said nothing more. He led her down narrow streets, past broken machines and walls covered in alien symbols. The night air grew colder. At last, they stopped before a small metal door hidden in the side of an abandoned building. The man pressed his palm against a dark scanner. With a soft click, the door slid open. He guided her inside quickly. The room beyond was dimly lit, filled with strange tools and glowing screens. It did not smell like a trader's den. It smelled like oil, metal, and something sharp like old blood. The girl froze. Fear rose in her chest again. What if this man was worse than the others? What if this was just another cage hidden behind a new promise? The man removed his cloak, tossing it onto a chair. For the first time, she saw him fully. His face was rough with scars, his eyes a deep brown that carried years of pain. His hair was dark, streaked with silver at the temples. He looked older than she expected, older than the buyers in the market. "You are human," she said softly. He nodded. "Yes, human, like you. Though not exactly." Her lips trembled. "I am not human. They told me I am wrong." He stepped closer, kneeling so his eyes met hers. "You are not wrong. You are proof." "Proof of what?" He hesitated, as if choosing each word carefully. "Proof that humans can survive what the galaxy tried to erase." She shook her head, not understanding. Her hands balled into fists. "Why did you buy me?" The man's eyes softened. "Not to use you. Not to harm you. I bought you because they would have destroyed you. And I will not allow that again." "Again?" she asked, her voice small. His face darkened. He stood and turned away, walking toward one of the glowing screens. For a moment, silence filled the room. Only the hum of hidden machines broke the air. When he spoke again, his voice was heavier, slower. "I had a daughter once. She was taken. Like you. Sold, promised, guaranteed." His fist clenched against the table. "I searched for her. I paid, I begged, I fought. But when I found her, it was too late." The girl's eyes widened. A cold sadness filled her chest. She wanted to ask what had happened, but the answer already showed in the scars on his face and the weight in his voice. The man turned back to her. His gaze was sharp, filled with fire. "You are not my daughter, but I will not let the same thing happen to you." The girl's breath caught. She did not know if she could trust him, yet something in his words struck deep. "Why me?" she asked. "Why risk so much for me?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Because you are more important than you know. Your blood, it carries something they fear. Something they want to hide." She blinked. "What do you mean?" The man walked to a small table and picked up a device. It glowed softly, showing strands of light twisting and weaving. "This is DNA, the code of life. Yours is different, stronger. You are half human, half alien, and that makes you dangerous." The girl stepped back, shaking her head. "No, I am just me, weak, afraid." He shook his head firmly. "No, you are hope. If others see what you are, the Council cannot deny humans forever. You could change everything." Her knees weakened, and she sank onto a chair. The words were too heavy. Change everything? She was just a girl who had lived her life in cages. She did not believe him. "I don't want to change anything," she whispered. "I just want to live." The man crouched beside her again, his voice gentle but strong. "Then live. That is enough. But to live, we must run. They will come for you. They always do." The girl's chest tightened. Images of hunters, dealers, and cages flashed in her mind. She looked at the man, searching his eyes for lies. But all she found was truth and sorrow. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "You have a choice now. You can trust me and we will fight for your life. Or you can walk away and they will find you again. And next time, there will be no escape." Her hands trembled. For the first time, someone had given her a choice. Not an order. Not a command. A choice. She swallowed hard, her voice barely more than a breath. I will stay. The man's eyes softened again. For the first time in years, perhaps, he allowed himself a small smile. Then, he said, we begin. But even as the words left his mouth, a soft sound echoed outside the hidden door, metal against stone, footsteps. The man's smile faded. His eyes sharpened. He reached for a weapon on the table. They've already found us. The sound outside the metal door grew louder. Heavy boots scraped against stone and low voices whispered in an alien tongue. The girl froze where she sat. Her heart pounded so hard she thought the hunters outside could hear it. The man moved fast. He grabbed a small device from the table and pressed it into her hand. Hold this, he whispered. The device was no larger than her palm, glowing faint blue. She looked at him with wide eyes. What is it? Hope, he said simply. Then he reached for a weapon, a thin black rod. With a snap, it extended into a glowing blade. The door shook. A voice outside barked a command. Then came the sharp crack of metal being forced open. The girl gasped. The man placed himself in front of her, standing tall, blade ready. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with fire. When the door breaks, stay behind me. Do not run unless I tell you. The girl nodded, though her whole body trembled. She had spent her life in cages. Running had always meant punishment. Fighting had always meant pain. But this man, this human, spoke as if freedom was possible. The door burst open with a deafening crash. 3 hunters stormed inside, tall and armored, with helmets that hid their faces. Strange weapons hummed in their hands, glowing with deadly energy. Step aside, human, one growled. His voice was deep like grinding metal. The half-breed belongs to the council. She belongs to no one, the man replied. His voice was sharp, steady. The hunters raised their weapons. The girl's breath caught in her throat. Then everything moved fast. The man lunged forward, his glowing blade slashing. Sparks lit the room. The first hunter fell with a cry, his weapon clattering to the floor. The second fired, but the man twisted aside, his blade cutting the energy bolt in half. It sizzled into the wall. With one swift strike, he knocked the hunter back. The third aimed at the girl. Her scream filled the room, until the device in her hand pulsed. A sudden wave of light exploded outward, throwing the hunter across the room. She stared at the device in shock. What is this? The man fought on, his blade flashing. A shield, he shouted. It reacts to you. Only you. Within moments, the hunters lay defeated on the floor. The man pulled the girl to her feet. We must move. More will come. He led her through a back tunnel, the air thick with dust and shadows. They ran, their footsteps echoing in the darkness. The girl's chest burned, her legs weak, but she did not stop. Behind them, alarms began to wail. Red lights flashed through cracks in the walls. The council's enforcers knew exactly where they were now. The tunnel opened into a wider passage. Strange pipes ran along the ceiling, dripping liquid that smelled of rust and chemicals. Shadows moved ahead. The man raised his blade again, but this time it was only rats, small alien creatures with glowing eyes. The girl gasped, then laughed nervously. The sound surprised her. She had almost forgotten what laughter felt like. The man gave her a quick glance. You're still alive, he said. Hold on to that. They kept running until the tunnel opened into the night. Cold air hit their faces. Above them, the stars spread wide, endless, filled with colors she had never seen before. The girl stopped, staring at the sky. Her heart raced not from fear, but from wonder. It's beautiful, she whispered. The man grabbed her hand. Later, we are not safe yet. In the distance, engines roared. Lights swept across the ground as hunter ships flew overhead. The man pulled her into the shadows of broken ruins. We must reach my ship, he said. It's hidden outside the city. Her eyes widened. A ship? He nodded. Our only chance. They moved carefully through the ruins, crouching low, hiding whenever the hunter lights passed too close. Every sound made the girl jump, the hiss of pipes, the flap of wings, the crack of distant weapons. At one point, a patrol of armored soldiers passed by, their voices cold, mechanical. The girl held her breath, pressing against the man's side. She could feel the beat of his heart, steady, strong, unafraid. When the soldiers were gone, they moved again. Step by step, shadow by shadow. Finally, they reached the edge of the city. Beyond lay a barren desert lit by 2 pale moons. Far in the distance, half buried in sand, a small ship waited. The girl's chest filled with hope. We can escape, she whispered. But the man's face was grim. Not yet. Engines roared behind them. A hunter ship descended, blocking the path. Its lights cut across the sand like knives. More soldiers poured out, weapons raised. The girl clutched the glowing device, her body trembling. "We can't fight them all." The man stepped forward, blade ready. His voice was calm. "Then we don't fight them all. We outsmart them." He turned to her. "Do you trust me?" Her lips trembled. Fear screamed inside her, but somewhere deep in her chest, stronger than fear, was something new: faith. She nodded. Yes, the man gave a single sharp smile. "Then follow my lead." As the hunters advanced, he raised his blade high, drawing their attention. At the same time, he pressed a hidden switch on his wrist. The desert ground beneath the hunters shook. Suddenly, explosions ripped the sand apart. Smoke and fire blinded their vision. The man grabbed the girl's hand. "Run." Together, they dashed toward the hidden ship as fire lit the night. The girl stumbled, but the man pulled her forward, never letting her fall. Behind them, the hunters shouted, their voices lost in the chaos. Ahead, the ship's doors opened with a hiss, like a mouth welcoming them in. They leapt inside. The man slammed the controls. The ship roared to life, engines burning. As it lifted off the ground, the girl looked through the window. The marketplace, the cages, the hunters, all shrank into darkness. For the first time in her life, she was leaving it all behind. But she also knew one thing: freedom was not yet hers. The chase had only just begun. The small ship rose high above the desert, its engines shaking the air. Flames from the explosion still lit the ground below, and hunter ships scrambled to follow. Inside the cabin, the girl sat strapped into a chair, her chest rising and falling fast. Her hands gripped the glowing device the man had given her. She still did not understand what it was or why it had saved her. The man sat at the controls, his face hard and focused. His scarred hands moved quickly, pressing buttons, pulling levers. The ship shook as a beam of light from behind struck its side. The girl screamed, "Hold on!" The man shouted. He twisted the controls sharply. The ship rolled, the stars spinning outside the windows. The beam missed, slicing only empty space. At last, the stars ahead grew clear. No more lights followed. No more hunters appeared. The man leaned back in his seat and let out a slow breath. "They lost us," he said. The girl's body sagged with relief, but the fear in her chest did not fade. She looked at him with wide, searching eyes. "Why are they chasing me? Why not the others? There are so many slaves. Why me?" The man turned, his eyes meeting hers. For a long moment, he did not answer. Then he stood, walking to a metal cabinet. From it, he pulled a small, round case. He set it on the table between them. With a soft click, it opened. Inside was a glass tube filled with glowing liquid, silver and blue, the same strange colors as the girl's eyes. Her breath caught. "What is that?" The man's voice was low. "Your blood," she stared, confused. "My blood?" He nodded. "I took a sample before we ran. I had to be sure." He lifted the tube. "Do you see this glow? It is not normal. Not human. Not alien. It is something else." Her body trembled. She shook her head. "I am just me, just nothing." "No," the man said firmly. "You are the opposite of nothing. You are proof that humans and aliens can share more than chains and war. You are living proof of something forbidden." Her lips parted. The words felt heavy. "Forbidden." He leaned closer, his eyes sharp. "The Galactic Council made laws long ago. Humans are too wild, too dangerous, they said. No unions, no children with alien blood. It was forbidden. Anyone who breaks the law is killed. And any child born of it." The girl's breath hitched. "Destroyed." The man nodded grimly. "Yes, destroyed before they can live. Because if a child like you survived, the Council's lies would be broken. They said humans are weak. They said humans are nothing. But your blood says otherwise." She shook her head again, tears filling her eyes. "No, you are wrong. I have always been weak. I have always been afraid. I do not feel powerful." The man's gaze softened. He knelt before her, resting the tube gently on the table. "Power does not always roar. Sometimes it only survives. And survival, little one, is the greatest power of all." The girl's tears slid down her cheeks. No one had ever spoken to her this way. No one had ever told her she was more than a cage. But even as warmth touched her chest, fear grew stronger. She whispered, "If the Council knows, they will kill me." "They already know," the man said quietly. He glanced at the glowing device still in her hand. "That is why I gave you this. It responds only to your blood. It is proof of what you are. And it may also be your only weapon. She stared at the device. The memory of light bursting from it, throwing the hunter across the room, flashed in her mind. Her hands trembled. I do not want to be a weapon. The man nodded. I know. But sometimes to live, you must fight. Silence filled the cabin for a long time. The girl's breathing slowed, though her mind raced. She looked out the window where the stars stretched like rivers of light. Where are we going? She asked at last. The man sat back in his chair, his eyes scanning the stars. To people who can help. Not all humans hide in chains. Some resist. Some fight. They must see you. They must know you exist. Her heart pounded again. But what if they don't want me? What if they fear me too? The man's voice was steady, calm. Then we will keep moving. As long as we breathe, we are not finished. She looked at him. His scars, his weary eyes, his strong hands. He had lost his daughter, yet here he was, risking everything for her. Why do you care so much? She whispered, his jaw tightened. For a moment, pain flickered in his eyes. Because I failed once, and I will not fail again. The girl lowered her gaze, her hands clutching the glowing device tight. She still did not believe in her own strength, but she wanted to believe in his. The ship hummed softly as it glided through the stars. For the first time in her life, she was far from the cages and markets. For the first time, she was free to ask questions. But freedom, she realized, was not safety. Not yet. Suddenly, the ship's console beeped. The man leaned forward quickly, scanning the screen. His face darkened. What is it? The girl asked, fear rising again. He looked at her with grim eyes. A council signal. They know where we are, and they are calling for judgment. The girl's chest grew tight. Judgment. The word echoed in her ears like a sentence. The man gripped the controls, his voice low but fierce. They want to put you on trial, to erase you in front of all the stars, but we will not let them. Not while I breathe. The girl's eyes widened. She clutched the device closer, the glow warming her trembling hands, and in her heart, for the first time, a question burned. Could she truly be more than the council's law? Could she be the forbidden truth that changed everything? The ship drifted through deep space, its lights dim to avoid detection. The girl sat near the window, staring at the endless stars. They looked so peaceful, but she knew peace was only an illusion. Somewhere out there, the council was hunting her. The man sat at the controls, his jaw tense, eyes focused on the navigation screen. We're close, he said at last. There's a hidden station ahead. Humans live there, fighters, rebels, survivors. They will help us. The girl's chest tightened. She wanted to believe him, but doubt filled her heart. What if they don't? What if they see me like the council does? The man turned, his eyes steady. Then I will protect you, no matter what. Hours later, the station came into view. It was hidden inside an asteroid field, surrounded by rocks and shadows. The station looked old, patched together from stolen parts, its surface scarred by battles. As they approached, the radio crackled. A sharp voice cut through. Identify yourself, the man leaned forward. Captain Rylan, human, code Sigma Delta 5. There was a long pause. Then the voice answered colder. Dock at Bay 3, slowly. The girl's fingers dug into her chair. Her heart pounded. She whispered, they sound angry. The man glanced at her. They are cautious. They have lost too much to trust easily. The ship docked with a heavy clang. The door opened and bright light spilled inside. Armed men and women stood waiting, weapons pointed. They were human, but their faces were hard, their eyes sharp. One of them stepped forward, a tall woman with short hair and a scar across her cheek. Rylan, she said flatly. You're alive, the man nodded. So are you, Mara. Her eyes narrowed. Then she looked at the girl. And who is this? The girl stepped back, clutching the glowing device to her chest. She felt the weight of all their eyes, heavy and cold. She is the reason I'm here, Rylan said. She's not just human. She's more. She is proof. The room grew tense. The rebels exchanged uneasy glances. Some whispered, others frowned. Mara crossed her arms. You bring a half-breed into our home? After everything the council has done, you risk all of us for her? She is the key, Rylan said firmly. If the council fears her, then we must protect her. She could change everything. A man in the crowd spat on the floor. Or she could be a trap. Another shouted, maybe the council sent her to destroy us. The girl's throat tightened. Their voices cut deep, sharper than knives. She wanted to speak, but fear locked her tongue. Rylan stepped forward, his voice strong. No, she is not a trap. She is a child. She is hope. But the doubt in the room did not fade. That night, they gave the girl a small room with metal walls and a single bed. The door locked from the outside. It felt like a cage again. She sat on the bed, hugging her knees, fighting tears. Why had she believed things would be different here? She touched the glowing device in her hand. Its soft light gave her comfort, but only a little. Footsteps echoed in the hall. The door opened. Mara stepped inside, her expression unreadable. The girl stood quickly, backing against the wall. Please, I don't want trouble. Mara studied her for a long time. You look fragile, afraid, but I see something else in your eyes. Something dangerous. I don't want to be dangerous, the girl whispered. Mara's lips tightened. Maybe, but danger follows you anyway, and I will not let my people die for you. The girl's breath caught. What do you mean? But Mara was already turning away. Sleep, child. Tomorrow, decisions will be made. The door closed again, locking her inside. The next morning, Rylan came to her room. His face was grim. We have a problem, he said. Not all of them trust you. Some want to send you back to the council. Her eyes widened. No, they'll kill me. I won't allow it, Rylan said. His voice was firm, but his shoulders looked heavy with worry. Stay close to me. Together, they walked into the main hall. The rebels gathered in a circle, voices loud, tempers rising. She is a threat, one man shouted. She is a chance. Another argued. Mara raised her hand, silencing them. Her cold eyes fell on the girl. If she stays, the council will come. They will burn us all. Rylan stepped forward. Then let them come. We are already at war. Hiding will not save us, the rebels murmured. Some nodded, others cursed. Then suddenly a sharp alarm blared. Red lights flashed across the hall. A voice shouted over the speakers. Council ships approaching. They found us! Panic spread through the rebels. Some ran for weapons, others cursed Mara for letting Rylan dock. The girl's chest tightened. Fear clawed at her. They know I'm here, she whispered. Rylan turned to Mara, his eyes fierce. You betrayed us, Mara's jaw clenched. I warned you, Rylan, she is a danger. I will not let her destroy us all. The girl's knees weakened. Betrayal. The very people she hoped would protect her had called the hunters. Council ships appeared outside the station, their dark shapes blotting out the stars. Rylan drew his weapon, his face burning with anger. Get behind me, he told the girl. The rebels shouted, weapons raised. The hall filled with chaos. The girl clutched the glowing device, its light stronger than ever, pulsing with her heartbeat. For the first time, she wondered, was it only a shield? Or was it something more? The station shook under the weight of enemy fire. Explosions lit the halls as council soldiers stormed inside. Their black armor gleamed, their weapons crackled with deadly energy. The rebels fought back with fury, but they were outnumbered. The girl clung to Rylan's side as he led her through smoke and chaos. The glowing device in her hands pulsed with every beat of her heart. Stay close, Rylan shouted. No matter what happens, don't let them take it from you. They reached the docking bay, but soldiers blocked their path. Rylan raised his weapon, slashing with skill, but there were too many. Then a voice boomed from above, deep and merciless. Enough, the fighting stopped. Soldiers and rebels froze. All eyes turned to the figure that stepped through the smoke. It was a council judge. Tall, cloaked in silver robes with a mask that hid his face. His presence filled the room with fear. The half-breed will stand trial, the judge declared. Her existence will be decided before the galaxy. The girl's breath caught in her chest. She tried to hide behind Rylan, but soldiers seized her arms. She struggled, screamed, but their grip was iron. Let her go, Rylan roared, fighting forward. But the soldiers struck him down with a shock blast. He collapsed, groaning in pain. The girl cried out, reaching for him. The glowing device flared in her hand, but the soldiers wrenched it away. Its light dimmed as it left her grasp. No, she screamed. The judge's voice was cold. Take them both. They were dragged onto a council ship locked in cells of light. Hours later, they stood in a vast chamber. Hundreds of alien leaders filled the seats, their eyes sharp, their faces twisted with judgment. The judge's voice echoed across the hall. This creature stands before us, born of human and alien blood. A violation of our most sacred law. She should not exist, murmurs filled the chamber. Some aliens sneered, others whispered with fear. The girl trembled, her chains rattling. She felt like a small shadow in a sea of monsters. Rylan stood beside her, his face bruised but unbroken. His voice rang out strong. She is not a crime. She is a child, a living being with the right to exist. The judge turned his masked face toward him. You speak as a father, but law does not bend for love. Ryland's eyes burned. Law without mercy is nothing but chains. The chamber erupted with voices, some agreeing, most condemning. The judge raised a hand, silencing them. The council will decide. Does she live or does she burn? The girl's heart pounded. Her throat felt dry. She wanted to scream, to beg, but her voice failed. She lowered her head, tears falling silently. Then Ryland leaned close, whispering, Speak, use your voice. It's all you have now. Her eyes widened. They won't listen. They must, he said firmly, because the truth is stronger than fear. She closed her eyes, shaking. For a long moment, silence filled the chamber. Then, slowly, she lifted her head. Her voice was small, trembling. I am not a weapon. I am not a mistake. I did not choose to be born. But I am here. I breathe. I live. If you kill me, it will not erase what I am. It will only prove you are afraid of me. The chamber went still. Her words echoed, soft but sharp. Even the judge hesitated. Ryland's eyes shone with pride, but the judge's voice soon thundered again. Words are wind, proof is blood. Show us why you deserve to live. Soldiers brought forward the glowing device. It floated above the chamber, shining bright. The judge pointed at it. Only she can command it. If she cannot, she dies. The girl's knees shook. She looked at Ryland, panic rising. I can't. I don't know how. He placed his hand gently on her shoulder. Don't think, feel. It answers to your heart. Her breath trembled. She stepped forward, raising her hands. The device hovered, silent. She closed her eyes. She thought of cages, of fear, of the pain of being sold. Then she thought of Ryland, his kindness, his promise, his belief in her. Light burst from the device, flooding the chamber. It wrapped around her like a shield, glowing brighter and brighter until even the judges covered their eyes. Gasps filled the hall. Some shouted in fear, others in awe. The girl opened her eyes. The light obeyed her. It rose and swirled, shaping itself into wings of silver and blue. She floated above the floor, chains shattering around her. I am not nothing, she said, her voice stronger now. I am alive. The chamber fell silent, but the judge's voice broke through, cold and final. Alive and dangerous. The council does not forgive forbidden blood. He raised his hand. Soldiers moved in again. Ryland stepped forward, fury burning in his eyes. Then take me instead. The girl gasped. No. He looked at her, his face soft despite the chaos. They need a price. I will pay it. You must live. Tears blurred her vision. She reached for him, but soldiers pulled them apart. The judge's voice rang out. Then so it shall be. One life for another. The girl screamed, her voice breaking. No, don't take him. But Ryland only smiled, though his eyes were heavy with sorrow. Live, little one. That is my judgment. The chamber shook with voices, with chaos, with fear. The trial was over, but for the girl, the true battle was only beginning. The chamber roared with voices. Some shouted for the girl's death, others demanded mercy. The council judge raised his hand, and silence fell like a heavy shadow. Ryland will take the punishment, the judge declared. The child will live, but she will never be free. Soldiers dragged Ryland forward. The girl screamed, pulling against her chains. Stop, please, don't hurt him. Her voice cracked, but the council did not care. The masked judge stepped closer to Ryland. You have broken our laws. You have sheltered forbidden blood. Your life will end as payment. Ryland's eyes never left the girl. He looked tired, scarred, but unafraid. Do not cry, he said gently. This is my choice. Her heart shattered. Tears poured down her cheeks. Why? Why would you die for me? He smiled faintly. Because once I failed to protect my daughter. I will not fail again. The girl shook her head, sobbing. No. You are all I have. And you, Rylan said softly, are all I leave behind. The judge raised his hand. A blade of pure light formed, bright and merciless. The crowd leaned forward, waiting for the strike. But then, the girl's body shook. The glowing device, still in her hand, pulsed wildly. Light burst from it, flooding the chamber. Chains shattered around her wrists and ankles. The crowd gasped in shock. No! She cried, stepping between Rylan and the judge. You will not take him. Not like this. The judge's blade swung down. Instinct took over. The device flared, forming a shield that caught the strike. Sparks exploded across the chamber. The aliens gasped. Impossible! The girl's eyes burned with silver-blue fire. Her voice rose, stronger than ever. I am not your mistake. I am not your shame. I am alive, and no law will erase me. The chamber trembled. The light spread wider, washing over the council. Some leaders shielded their eyes, others fell to their knees. The girl's voice carried like thunder. You call me forbidden, but what you fear is truth. Humans are not weak. Humans are not slaves. I exist, and because I exist, your lies are broken. The judge staggered back, his mask cracking from the force of her power. His voice wavered, though he tried to sound strong. You are dangerous. You will bring war. No, she said, her tears glowing like stars. I will bring freedom. The crowd erupted. Some shouted in fury, others in awe. The chamber divided, half in fear, half in hope. But the judge raised his blade again, his voice sharp. Then freedom will begin with your death. Rylan struggled forward, though guards held him back. No! The judge struck, but before the blade could fall, Rylan threw himself into its path. The strike pierced his chest. The girl screamed. Rylan! He collapsed into her arms, blood staining his lips. The light of the blade faded, but his body shook with pain. No, no, stay with me, she begged, holding him tight. His hand touched her face gently. His voice was weak, but his eyes were warm. Do not waste my gift. Live, fight, carry the truth. Her tears fell onto his skin, glowing with her strange blood. For a moment his breathing steadied. The device pulsed brighter, reacting to her grief. The judge stepped back, fear flickering in his eyes. What is she? The girl lifted her head. Her eyes burned brighter than ever. I am what you tried to kill. I am what you cannot control. I am proof you cannot bury. The light exploded outward, shaking the chamber. The soldiers fell back, blinded. The judge stumbled, his mask shattering fully, revealing a face twisted with fear. The rebels, still alive among the crowd, raised their voices. She is one of us, she lives. Others joined. For the first time, the chamber was not ruled by silence or fear. It was filled with defiance. The girl cradled Rylan as his strength faded. His voice was barely a whisper now. Promise me. She sobbed. Anything. Promise. You will fight for them. For every child in chains. For every human forgotten. Her heart broke, but she nodded. I promise. His eyes closed slowly, peace softening his face. His last breath left him in silence. The girl screamed, her grief tearing through the chamber like a storm. The device flared one last time, surrounding Rylan's body in light, carrying him gently into the air before fading into nothing. She was alone now, but not weak. She stood, her eyes shining with fire. The council stared at her, shaken. For the first time they looked uncertain. Her voice cut through the silence. You will not erase me. You will not erase us. The age of chains is ending. With that, she turned, walking out of the chamber. Rebels followed, hope burning in their eyes. Soldiers hesitated, too afraid to stop her. Outside, the stars stretched wide, endless. She looked up, wiping her tears. Rylan was gone. but his dream lived in her. She whispered to the stars, her voice steady. I will fight for them. I will fight for all of us, and one day we will all be free. The ship doors closed behind her. Engines roared to life. She was no longer a prisoner, no longer a child in a cage. She was the forbidden truth, and the galaxy would never be the same.